Good morning, I'm YourPlayerTwo, and today is August 9th, Friday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern, and this is the basically continued effort of me to do 90 days worth of weekday morning live streams. And today what I wanted to talk about was because I'm indulging the live format now and just kind of seeing what happens over the next 3 months if you just decide to take your channel in a direction away from pre-produced content and then to doing just, live stream live stream content exclusively if that has any major impact on your analytics, on your views, and things like that. So it's sort of an experiment that I'm doing, and also I thought it would just be a fun format to play around with. So when I got deeper into the live streaming format and I started thinking about that, one of the things I realized was that I actually have a checklist of things that I do before I go live all the time. Because traditionally, the only time I've really gone live on this channel is I used to do some pickup streams last year where I would just hang out and talk about new games that I'd picked up and hear about the games that you'd picked up and things like that. But the only other time that I really live stream was just playing video games, and that would be either Wednesday night during the multiplayer live stream that we do here, or it would be just me having fun, just playing games like Fire Emblem the other day, or playing a whole lot of Dragon Quest Builders 2 over the last few weeks. So what I wanted to do today was just talk about 10 of the different things that I try to make sure are in check before I actually go live on the channel. And the weird thing is I already had this checklist sort of created specifically for streaming video games, but it's completely applicable here for the most part as well. So I thought I would go ahead and talk about those. So if you also are thinking about live streaming, or if you're already in the middle of it and you notice that you tend to run into a lot of problems, there's a lot of sort of like pre-work that you can do to make sure that a live stream is going to go smoothly, or at least more smoothly. Because that's the thing, right? Live streaming is the most chaotic format that you could engage for your channel, because literally anything could happen. You could drop your stream, and you can get trolls live, which is always fun to deal with. I mean, there's just a lot that could theoretically go wrong where you don't quite have the degree of control that you do whenever you just shoot a video, edit it, and then upload it later. So these are 10 of the things that I do to try to make sure I'm set up to do a smoother live stream whenever things get going. And the first is Hidden Gamer. What's up, man? Are you talking about yourself again? I am talking about myself at great length and in insane detail, Hidden Gamer. How are you this morning? Yes, amazing troll. Not a bad way to start. Because I'm just like, the live stream format's scary, and then Hidden Game Room bombs up here like, yes, let me show you how scary it can be. But the first thing that I do is create the thumbnail in advance. Now, and that's the thing, like, of course you have to create the thumbnail in advance, right? I mean, if you don't, then you're not going to have one. You're just going to have whatever default YouTube throws up there. But what I mean is I don't typically do the thumbnail, like, 5 minutes before I'm supposed to go live. Usually I make sure that's, squared away hours in advance, or sometimes days in advance, if not longer, if I know that I've got, a certain live streaming schedule that I want to keep up with in the coming days, coming weeks, and whatnot. But making sure you've got that sorted out in advance, and that it's a good reflection of the content that you're going to have on offer, is definitely a good idea. Today's thumbnail was actually something I came up with last night. To me, things to do before you go live, the first video game thing I thought of was Lack 2, always trying to make sure that you get that boost right when a Mario Kart race starts. What's up, Mike? How are you doing this morning, man? So, yeah, definitely make your thumbnail in advance. Like, don't wait till the last second to try to, squeeze that out, because, it'll definitely be better and probably more in line with the vision you have for the stream if you put a little bit of, thought and care into it, just like anything else. And sort of in the same vein as the thumbnail, if that handles the visual presentation of your stream before you go live, you also want to try to write your copy in advance. Wakey wakey bum. Hello, Dad. Thank you for joining this morning. Let's see. Saves time doing edit. Yeah, it saves a ton of time doing edits. The live format is definitely great because there is no real editing except for a little bit of post-production that you do in the YouTube interface. But the second thing I will say is write your copy in advance as well. Like, whatever your description is going to be, whatever your title is going to be, I even actually go ahead and figure out what the tags are going to be for that video before I go live. Because it's weird, I don't think you can actually add tags to a video before you go live, which would be really helpful because I would love to get that step done in advance, but just the same, after it's been up and it gets processed, and you can add tags to it, anything that's going to be written, and that includes things like, tweets or Facebook updates, or the text that you're going to put if you're going to put an update out on someplace like Instagram and you want to let people know, like, hey, I'm going to be live streaming at this point. Having all that stuff written in advance, so whenever you're getting ready to, go live, you can just sort of copy paste into all the places you need to be and then just, let it go. So much easier. And the next thing I do is make sure all my equipment is laid out far in advance. Like, before I do this in the mornings, before I do video game streams, like, I would do normally through the week and things like that, I always try to make sure all of the lighting, the stream deck, microphone, monitors, and all the, windows that I need to look at while I'm doing a stream are already arranged in advance so that, I can just hit a button and go and not be scrambling last second, or worse, in the middle of the stream, trying to figure out where everything is that I need, or remember that I missed some crucial part of the hardware that makes live streaming necessary. So, making sure you get your equipment laid out and exactly positioned the way you're used to it is definitely a helpful thing to do, because, again, you don't want to be scrambling scrambling last minute, or struggling on stream when you've got live viewers. You're just like, oh, 1 second, I got to fix my microphone, or I have to make sure this lighting is correct. Actually, speaking of the lighting on this video, I'm not 100% happy with it just yet, but it's at least well lit enough that you should be able to see me all right. So. Nightcore says, technically on PS4, you weirdly can make tags ahead of time. Yeah, like, maybe it's something I'm missing in the interface. I should probably dig into a little bit more, but it's kind of crazy that, at least from what I've seen, that I can't add them till after the fact. So I probably have tons of live streams that have the same 2 or 3 erroneous tags on them over and over. One day I'm going to have to do a full audit and go back through all of the videos that I've published that came from the live format and make sure they're not tagged with stupid things. I'm sure a bunch of them are. So aside from, getting your thumbnail created in advance, making sure your copy is written in advance, make sure your equipment's laid out, the next thing I had on here was to make sure that your lighting is correct. And that's interesting, especially if you shoot someplace with windows. Like, I've got, curtains back here to kind of block out some of the morning light. It's not that I don't want it to look bright in here, it's just that the way my camera's positioned, if I have a bunch of light behind me, it's going to be all blown out, and I'm going to look like a creepy interview on 60 Minutes or something like that. So, because there can be shifting lighting conditions, especially if you shoot in a place where you've got open windows, or if you don't have blinds or curtains or something like that, it's good to check that in advance, because filming that at night may not be the same thing as if you're trying to do it in the middle of the day. So if you've been live streaming predominantly in the evening, and then you go to set up your lighting and everything, and you're going to do it like on a Saturday morning or in the middle of the day, might be lit completely differently. So that's another good thing to sort of check and make sure you got squared away in advance. Hidden Game Room says, when do you do the hair and makeup, or do you have a crew for that? I do not have a crew. Although, let me tell you something. I'm not opposed to the idea of experimenting with makeup to see if I could do things like bags under my eyes and stuff like that. I've never done it, and honestly, I probably wouldn't try to do it myself, because it would be disastrous. I'd probably look like like a terrifying clown or something. But if some other YouTuber who's familiar with makeup knew how to do that correctly, I would consider it. But as far as the hair, it's just it's standard gel for the most part. No, it's like a paste, and I do that. I do it myself every morning. It takes about 4 seconds to basically just spike my hair into like a pyramid shape and look like a cartoon every morning. Uncle Strange, how are you this morning? Thank you for stopping by, man. How goes your Friday morning? If you stream through PS4, let me know. I will. I rarely stream natively through the PS4, except I have to for VR games. There's no real way for me to see chat or anything. Like, I can't interact with OBS and stream VR. At least I don't think so. That would be some sort of a trick. But I don't stream VR that often. Although I will say, a complete side note before I go on to the rest of these, I'm very seriously considering picking up No Man's Sky again today. I played it, and then I got rid of it, and now I'm thinking about getting it again, because that VR update is dropping in like a week, and I'm really quite curious to see, what that game is like in VR, because I know people have been clamoring for it since the beginning. Even when the game didn't have all of the updates, it probably should have at launch, but okay, I'm going way off script here. Not that there really is a script, there's just like some bullet points here. Next up will be, I configure the Stream Deck for Go Live. So I use the Elgato Stream Deck. I'm going to try to show it here without accidentally hitting a button and screwing something up. But this thing is completely magical. And the way mine is set up is I actually have that, let's see if I can get the camera to focus. That spread the word actually triggers something where it sends out a tweet and then asks you guys in chat to go retweet that, so I can try to get more people to see it. The Rut-Row button over there will actually bring up, weirdly enough, a Lakitu screen where it says we're experiencing technical difficulties. Along the top there, you can see that I've got the scenes for OBS. So right now, full screen is set up because it's just showing me on the camera and nothing else. But then I've also got a pre-roll button and some others there that I don't typically go to whenever I'm live. And then if I hit the YouTube chat button, I'm going to try not to hit the wrong thing. I actually have things in here, so if I need to tell people about Discord, or Twitter, or shirts, or if I'm on the Chillcast, I need to let people know to go over to Avedon's channel, it'll do that. So right now, for anybody that wanted to join the Discord, if I hit this button right here, it should drop a chat immediately that says, hey, go check out the Discord. And then it gives you a little check mark whenever you're good to go. And then at the bottom, I've got OG name and rename, and this is the thing that changes my Twitter handle. So right now, if you go look at my Twitter, it doesn't say YourPlayerTwo. It says, it's got like a red circle, and it says live and YourPlayerTwo. That way, if anybody's scrolling through Twitter at this time, and they're wondering what's going on, they can see that, yes, I'm live streaming right now. So these are all things that I make sure are configured well in advance. So if I have to do any like midstream updates, or if I have to one of the buttons on here, actually, the starting soon, I should have pointed that out, does like 5 different actions at once, right? It starts the stream. Well, first it switches to my pre-roll stream, which I usually do for the gaming ones, and then it will start the stream itself. So it starts feeding to YouTube, and it plays that pre-roll, gives people a few minutes to get into the chat. Then it will rename my Twitter, and then it will also send out a tweet that says, hey, I'm going live, and then it drops something in the chat like, hey, we're starting soon, so just chill out. Solid Nate, how you doing, man? Thanks for swinging by. Working, just working. I just woke, sir. Yours is the first human face I see today. I am excited for that, and also I apologize. I did not do my makeup, as HGR pointed out, Uncle Strange. So, yeah, that would be the next thing. And then, see if I still have my list here. Let's see, configuring the stream deck for go live announcements and midstream announcements. I already talked about that. The next thing I do is I make sure the game. This is something that I constantly would forget to do, and I actually had to make a reminder for myself to do it. And this doesn't really apply to retro games. So, but for modern games, is to make sure the game is installed / patched / ready to stream. Because sometimes I would, or in the past, I had bought certain games, and then I would be like, yeah, I'm going to stream this tonight, and then I would go to put it in, and I'm like, all right, stream starts in 5 minutes, let's do this. And then it would be like, oh yeah, you got a 20 gig patch to download. And that was before I had everything on wired Ethernet instead, and I was just doing Wi-Fi, so it would take forever for me to get those patches downloaded. So yeah, if you're planning to stream an entirely new game, make sure that you try to install it and patch it, and make sure that there's nothing. And something else you could do in that, now that I'm thinking about it, is a lot of games will have really long opening tutorial levels. So in some cases, even though you may want to play a new game live for the first time, it might make sense to get that out of the way in advance, unless you really want to let people watch you go through a sometimes very boring opening tutorial level. So I always try to make sure that any games that I'm going to stream are, again, just patched, and even games that, I've already installed and I've been playing for weeks or months. Like, even if I put in Splatoon, for example, and I was going to stream that on a Wednesday night, I'll check that game about 3 hours in advance and make sure there's not some update that's available for it. Because it's not just like launch patches or launch updates or anything like that. Sometimes they just roll updates out, you don't know about it, and then you go to stream, and you find out you got to leave people hanging for about 15, 20 minutes. Just waking up for work here? Right on, man. Well, I'm glad you're spending your waking up time here, Nate. I appreciate that. Mario 3 needs a patch, said no one ever. Unless maybe if you're playing it on the Nintendo Switch Online, they could theoretically patch that, right? Didn't they add a new type of Mario Brothers 3? Ribby, what's up, man? How you doing this morning? I thought you were playing Mario Kart. No, I'm not playing Mario Kart. I just use that as an example because it shows Lakitu, sort of doing the countdown before the race starts. I thought it, had some thematic symmetry to what I'm talking about, which is making sure you're ready before you run the race or drive the race? Run the race? Anyways, the point is, bad analogy. I was trying to basically illustrate visually that there are some things you can do prior to go live, which, in Mario Kart terms means you want to try to get that extra boost at the beginning. Am I going to someday? Oh yeah, absolutely. For the Wednesday multiplayer streams, Mario Kart's just a staple. That always keeps coming back, so I'll absolutely play Mario Kart, Ripman. Dragon Gamer, hello, how are you this morning? So yeah, make sure games are patched and ready to stream. Next up, and this is something that has hit me a couple of times, and actually did this a couple of weeks ago when I was streaming a game, and that is to make sure nothing else is draining network resources. Obviously, if you're streaming data out to the web, that is a network-intensive sort of activity to take part in, and if you have a bunch of other computers on your network or other devices, or people hanging out at your house with their phones, and they're doing things like streaming Netflix, or if they're playing online games or something like that that could be chipping away at your bandwidth, that's something you might want to make sure is in check or not happening at the prime time that you're getting ready to stream for your audience. I've had this happen a few times. Once I forgot that I left like Netflix running downstairs, and let's see, I'm trying to think of other times. One time I had like a patch that was downloading for a console that seemed to impact things and make it not so great. And a couple of weeks ago, the thing that I found out I didn't even think about was I actually have had iCloud syncing files from one machine to another, and it goes out to the web and then it comes back down. I don't think it does it locally over the network, but the point is it was syncing like 30 gigs worth of files that I dragged into iCloud and totally forgotten about, and it was doing it right in the middle of streaming, so everything went real glitchy, real quick, and it looked absolutely awful. So definitely something worth checking. Make sure you don't have anything that's draining network resources. You don't have some buddy of yours who's screwed around playing Halo while you're trying to stream games. Where's Adrian? I don't know where Adrian is right now. He's an hour behind me, though. He may still be asleep. It's about 7:15 in the morning for him. I know a game you should stream with PSVR, Josh. What game is that, Nightcore? I'm very curious. I forgot who Fabian was. Fabian is GamerThumb TV. You didn't pay full price for Iron Man, did you? Tony's legs are gone. No, I can't remember where I got that. That was either a gift or I found it cheap somewhere. It's like a coin bank, but I thought it looked really cool. Let's see. I'm trying to catch up with the chat real quick. I'm buffering. Anyone else buffering? Oh, wait. Are you kidding me right now? Or are you just saying that because I just talked about checking network resources? CNA, Uncle Leo, Josh, Hidden Game Room. Thanks for stopping by, man. Have a wonderful rest of your Friday. NAGC is more of the bearded man than me. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Again, that is a Gandalfian beard. It's amazing. Good now. Wipeout Omega. I'm not streaming the Wipeout Omega collection. I already streamed that at one point. I'm not saying it's not good, and it's not that I don't appreciate the VR mode of the Omega collection. I just, I would much rather do No Man's Sky if I could. Normally I would be sleeping, but I had to get up early to get ready for something, so I'm just on my break beforehand. Right on, Remy. Well, I'm glad you swung in for a few, man. So yeah, make sure that everything is ready to stream, nothing else is draining network resources. Another thing I do is I test chat, which it might seem weird like you would even have to test chat, because doesn't that just absolutely work? But what I mean is the way my streaming setup is right now, I'm staring basically at the exact same interface that you guys are seeing. And this is true when I play games, right? Whenever I play games, I have that border and it's got all the widgets and stuff around, and you see the chat on screen. I use the HD60S, which has a low latency USB 3.0 connection, so it's basically fast enough that it can display the video with little to no lag. So I don't have to basically pipe the video back out of the capture card to like a TV or something like that, and that's what I play off. The same thing you're seeing is the same thing I'm seeing. So I'm not seeing a full screen view of the game. I'm seeing it the same way that you guys are. So when there's that like little rounded corner in the bottom and everything, that's how I have to play the game, because it's easier for me to keep up with chat while I play the game without having to like look between two different displays, which gets to be a real pain after a while. How do you like Fire Emblem Three Houses? It's okay. It's not grabbing me the way I hoped it might, and it's not because it's not good. It's a great game, and I can tell you, like, I've enjoyed the characters, I've enjoyed the story, and mechanically I would say that, you know, the things that it has on offer are really, really fun. Like, the battle system is cool. The day-to-day sort of Persona-ish aspect of where you try to build relationships with people and sort of do tasks around the monastery and everything, that's all very cool as well. But there's something about the pacing that does not keep me coming back. So instead, what I've been playing the past couple of days, much to the chagrin of some of my friends who are super into Fire Emblem, is actually Wolfenstein The New Order, a game that I've been rotting on my backlog for years at this point, and I'm kicking myself because it's an incredible game. And if you like shooters and you're looking for a shooter that has a really fun story and a really solid presentation, Wolfenstein is tremendous. Then I kind of wanted to catch up through Wolfenstein 1 and 2 so that I could play Youngblood, which I played at E3. Looks horrible on the Switch, but looks really good on other platforms. Will you be doing these kind of talk streams next week? Yes, next week and every week until Halloween hits. At that point, I will reevaluate whether or not it makes sense to continue based on the data I've collected. And my suspicion is that it will turn into a hybrid of the live format and pre-produced. Moving to the live stream format every morning was basically a fun way for me to just start the day and get excited and engage with the YouTube community because I really enjoy it. Two is I thought that it would reduce production time, because a lot of the times when I do like tips or informational videos like this, I feel like it was very silly because I would think of the ideas, then I would write them out, and then I would get in front of a camera, and then I would read what I wrote, and then I would try to figure out how to say it exactly the way I wrote it, which is dumb, because if I had just gone straight from my head into the camera, as I am now, I would probably, you know, not have to do those extra steps, and it would be a lot quicker to get information from A to B, and I figured I could, you know, increase my output while letting production quality take a slight hit. But I'm working on that. I will be making some stream improvements over the weekend. You know, that's how I'll spend that time, since I won't be streaming in the mornings on Saturday and Sunday. But what I will do is use that time to see if I can do things like maybe add some background music, or improve the lighting, or add some on-screen graphics, and make sure that's in a better position for all the times that I'm going to stream from that point going forward. If so, I have off next week, so I don't think there'll be a chance of making it. No worries. Like, and that's the thing. Like, once these are done, you can always watch them at your leisure too, because they'll stay on the channel. I'm not unpublishing these. No spoilers, please, guys. No, I'm not dropping any spoilers. Don't worry, Dragon. Uncle says, how do you feel about the E3 breach? I think it's been handled poorly based on what I've heard. Now, granted, that's fairly anecdotal. I don't have all of the details, but from what I hear, they had a data breach where they actually leaked information, not for regular attendees, but if you were, I believe, media or higher, if you were attending E3 in a professional capacity, your data got leaked, and apparently they did not do a good job of letting people know about this. Like, I actually had a couple people, Judge actually hit me up. He texted me. He was like, hey, man, you went to E3, right? And I was like, yeah. He's like, do you have a media pass? And I was like, no, you need 100,000 subs to get a media pass. So I was just, you know, just slumming it with the gamer pass. Why? And he was like, because there was a huge data breach and you could have been doxxed on the internet. And I was like, well, that's terrifying. So the fact that I'm finding this out from my buddy on Twitter and not directly from E3 or the ESA, you know, making this you know, something that's a little more widespread is definitely disconcerting, right? Not great. Again, I feel like this is a Q&A. It can be. Like, I don't mind going off script a little bit, and that's one of the other cool things about the live format, is if people have questions or want clarification, or if they have extra insight to add to any of the stuff that I put out there that everybody benefits from, that's awesome. And that's something you don't really get from a pre-produced video once it gets uploaded to YouTube. Like, yeah, people can do it in the comments, but not everybody scrolls down and reads through everything in the comments. But if you're watching the video and you say something particularly insightful or something that, you know, everyone, including myself, can benefit from, I'll absolutely talk about it on the stream. And that just sort of, I think, increases the quality of the video, because you may have insights that I do not. Watching them on leisure would make me not be able to chat with you. Exactly. Sorry, I probably should have read that next one, but yeah, I completely agree. So yeah, I test the chat prior to going live with games just because I want to make sure that when if I type something into YouTube chat, that it shows up on the screen the way I expect it to. That way, it's the difference between me just moving my eyes like slightly to the left to see what's happening on in chat on stream instead of me having to look at a completely different window or take my focus off of the game. And that's particularly helpful for games that require a lot of twitchy reflexes, which I tend to shy away from because I'm more of a chatty guy. So most of my live streams are focused less on, look, I'm an amazing performance streamer who's going to crush Mega Man 2 today, and I'm more of a, well, I'm gonna build a tiny house in Minecraft and talk to you guys while I do it. That's more my speed. Now Fabian, GamerThumb TV, that cat plays some really hard games. So if you want to see a performance stream, you should totally check him out. It is pretty awful, Uncle Strange. It's not the best. Do I have any talents? Like weird talents, you mean? Like, well, like being able to like cross my eyes or wiggle my ears or something? Or do you mean like, are you just like, you're a talentless hack, get off the live stream? You have to clarify that for me. My Dragon Gamer says, my question to you is, are you going to play SAO FB Switch today? Wait. SAO would be... Wait. I'm forgetting the acronym right now. Give me a second. Oh, Sword Art Online. Did that drop today? I've never played a Sword Art Online game, and I'll tell you why. I think the premise is interesting because it's like an MMO. It's like a faux MMO, right? That exists, and it's an action RPG. And in the game and in the anime, I believe, it's all centered around an MMO. Is that right? So when you play the game, even though it looks like an MMO, you're not actually playing an MMO, just a simulated MMO that's a single-player experience. And I think that's really cool on paper, and I bet it's at least a little bit fun. But I always see reviews sort of dog Sword Art Online, so I've always been hesitant, like, is it really worth playing? Is it actually fun? Or am I just, giving too much credence to critics that are being incredibly harsh with the game? Lurk away, Rob. No worries. So, yeah, I test the chat every time before I go live. Definitely a good thing to do, especially if you're somebody who plays off of the interface, as it were, or the same scene that you're letting other people watch. And the next thing I do, and this is an audio thing, is to make sure other stuff is muted, whether that's my phone or, I have my Mac over here that I edit off of. Right now I'm streaming off of my gaming rig. I always try to make sure everything's muted because I don't want random sounds to pop up. And the other morning I was doing one, and one did pop up because I forgot to do this. And that's because I haven't been using this checklist for this particular live format. I've only been using it for the video game stuff. But yeah, that's something that, I always try to do. And really just to minimize external sound in general. Like if you have roommates, if you have like pets or something that's going to bomb up the live stream. Unless you want to bring them onto the stream, because sometimes they're adorable, like my puppy Chell, which I'll probably bring her on at some point. But, just make sure, like, doors shut, you've done everything to minimize noise, as it were. Because anything that's going to distract people from, your content is probably not the best. So, making sure other devices are muted, phone, computer, things like that. Noisy roommates, always a good practice. And finally, the last thing that I do, and this is something that I frequently forget to do, even though it has been on the list, is to capture gameplay footage. Now, what I mean by that is I actually use a splitter, right? I use an HDMI splitter, and that serves a couple of functions. One is, for a different scenario, is it lets me stream PS3 and PSTV if I ever want to do that, because those had HDCP, and that splitter allows you to strip out that copy protection so you can actually get the video signal to your capture card and then get it out to the internet. And then the main thing I use it for, though, is I actually split the source video, whether that's like my PS4, my Xbox One, Nintendo Switch. I split that to two separate capture cards. One is the Elgato HD60S, which predominantly is used for streaming. That's what you're seeing this through now. And the other one is the AverMedia 2 Live Gamer, or the AverMedia Live Gamer Portable 2. Wow, that's a mouthful. And I actually reviewed this on the channel about 3-4 months ago at this point, and the thing is just a beast. It does not have quality that is quite as good as you would get from an Elgato capture card. It's a little bit more washed out in terms of the colors, but that reduction in quality also produces a much smaller file size, which makes it ideal for editing. And the other reason I do that is because if I captured video that was going out to the stream, it would have all of the on-screen elements, right? So if I capture myself, doing the multiplayer stream on Wednesdays, it's gonna have like, the chat showing up on screen and all that stuff. And it's not that that's bad necessarily, but for certain videos, that's not what I want. I want the raw gameplay footage. So by splitting the video signal to one capture card that does streaming and another capture card that literally is, serving as a capture card and capturing video data, I have that raw gameplay footage that I can use if I want to edit a video after the fact. So if I'm streaming Dragon Quest Builders 2 for 4 hours, and I want that raw 4 hours of footage so that I can illustrate certain points in a video that I'm going to make, having a secondary capture card and splitting it out like that is really, really helpful. So one of the things I remind myself to do is to make sure I actually start the recording on that, which, again, the EverMedia Live Gamer Portable 2 is really, really awesome. That has basically a giant red button that, like, glares out at you. But when you hit it, it starts, softly pulsing red to let you know, hey, it's recording. You hit it again, it'll, work its way back to blue to let you know not recording. Pretty great. So yeah, those are all of the things that I do, and I'll just go ahead and rapid fire back through them. These are the things that I check every time before I go live streaming with games. I make sure my thumbnail and copy are all written in advance, so that stuff's ready to go. I make sure all my equipment is laid out in advance, things like microphones, the monitors I'm going to use. Software perspective would be, like where the YouTube window is going to be, where my gameplay is going to be, and all that stuff. Make sure the lighting is correct, make sure that's in good shape, because lighting conditions can shift depending on where you shoot and where you stream from. I configure the stream deck for Go Live to make sure I can automate some things so I can keep focusing more on the chat and less on fiddling around trying to make certain things happen, like mid-stream chats, tweets, renaming my Twitter account, and things like that. Make sure nothing else is draining network resources, right? Make sure you don't have software updates downloading on some console you've got. Make sure you don't have some sync service like Dropbox or iCloud that's syncing large files to the machine that you're trying to stream from. Test the chat, which is something that I do constantly just to make sure I can see everything as I need to when I'm in the middle of playing the game. Mute other computers, phones, make sure you can minimize background noise that can be distracting. And then finally, just make sure I'm capturing that raw gameplay footage if I have the opportunity to do so, because it's super helpful to be able to have that footage just raw and unsullied by things like voice commentary or on-screen elements for making pre-produced video. Thank you for answering. No problem, Dragon Gamer. And I would like if you're getting it today and you're playing, I would like to hear your thoughts on it, because maybe that would be enough to sway me, as it were. And now I've got about another 10-15 minutes here. We can just hang out and chill and just talk about what are you going to do with your Friday? What magical things are you going to do with your life today, or on your YouTube channel? Tell me all the things. The one thing I hate is when I set up my stream and do my checks 15 seconds after I hit go live in OBS, it pings me for dropped frames and I have to restart OBS. Yeah, and it's weird because that's one of the shotgun approaches to fixing problems with OBS. I need to make a video just about fixing OBS problems on the fly, because it seems like that's something everyone sort of deals with. Whether you're using OBS or Streamlabs OBS, you can encounter midstream problems in just about any software, so I should probably make a whole video just about that. I use the Live Gamer Portable Lite. It's a trooper. Right on. But yeah, like, it's weird because I'd always been like, ugh, anything that's not Elgato is trash, but that's not true. I needed to examine my own biases, and after doing so, I found that the EverMedia Live Gamer Portable 2 is actually a really solid performer, and it filled an amazing gap in my workflow where I could capture the raw footage I needed to make more videos later. Awesome. I feel like I'm not listening to you. It's hard. Wait. Oh, no, it's fine. Like, honestly, one of the reasons you might struggle listening to me just because I tend to speak very, very quickly, and I attribute that to two things. One, my anxiety manifests as nervous energy, which in turn makes me talk very, very quickly. And two, I have a thing about caffeine where I like it a lot and indulge it too frequently. 8-Bit Glitch 79, how are you doing today? I'm at work right now. Thanks for the tips. Pretty new to YouTube and streaming, so your tips have been helpful. That is so great. I think this is the first time I've seen you here, man. Thank you so much for checking out the channel. I appreciate it immensely. Please tell me more about your channel. If you're totally new, like, what are you going to be doing with your gaming channel, man? I'd love to know. I have an epic lunch. I have to get a beard trim this afternoon. That's one thing I need to. I should probably, deal with this at some point. It's not terrible, but I know I'm going to end up looking like a hobo about 3 or 4 days. JST Fanatic says, I love all your content. Keep up all your great work. JST Fanatic, thank you for making my Friday morning. You have no idea, even though, like, I'll get on here and talk a big game, like, yes, you should try this. You should do this with your streams. Dude, every time I'm about to go live, and I would say this to anybody, it's terrifying, because you're always like, what if nobody shows up? Or what if people show up and they absolutely hate it? So just having that small word of encouragement from you this morning has been absolutely incredible. Thank you so much. How did you find the channel, just out of curiosity, JST? Ruby says you need to remind Adrian to groom his beard. Hey, personal hygiene, that's Adrian's responsibility, okay? The only thing I need to remind him to do is to make sure that, he hits me up about how we're going to get to E3 next year. Oh yeah, I forgot, you do have Terrificon. You did mention that the other day, Rob. I imagine you were very excited. I was surprised by the Terrificon website to hear that it started playing music at me. That's something I hadn't seen a website do since, like, 1998. That threw me off. But yeah, as far as what I'm going to be doing this weekend or with the rest of the day, I got day job in about half hour, so I'm going to have to go do that. And then this evening, depending on how it goes, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make the chillcast or not yet. Like, on the one hand, I can't make it. On the other, I'm on call for the day job, which, it sucks getting interrupted on stream. The only reason I'm able to do this right now is because I have this window where I'm not technically on call between the hour of like 8 and 9 in the morning. So, we'll see how it goes. But as far as what I'm going to be playing this weekend, definitely going to be playing more Wolfenstein, because I cannot believe I neglected that game for so long. It's been so fun. And if you are a fan of shooters, particularly ones that have a compelling narrative with really fun, interesting characters, Wolfenstein's really good. I kind of wrote it off because I was like, it's just going to be like a generic shooter. Like, yeah, it'll probably play really good, but it's not going to offer much beyond that. But it totally does. And, I stand corrected. Apologies to the developers of that game. I do pickup streams, convention coverage, VGM unboxing, and have some plans on doing a series covering media and entertainment that has been an influence in my life. Very good. So what's one piece of media or entertainment that has been an influence on your life? We'll be going to Korn and Alice in Chains show tomorrow night. Oh my god, I saw Korn. It was like 10 years ago at this point, but I was like totally stoked. They came to Columbus, and I was so pumped to see Korn, because I've been listening to them since I was in high school, right? I'm really glad that Korn is still making music. Even they had a couple of rocky parts here and there in terms of the lineup, but still. Actually, Josh, I uploaded a vid to YouTube for the first time in a month just the other day. I totally missed that. I should go check that out. What was the video about, Uncle Strange? That's actually, and that brings up an interesting point. One of the things I'll be working on for stream enhancements over the weekend is figuring out how can I show you guys my desktop. Like, if we want to look at articles together, if we want to look at your channels on the stream, I don't have a good way to do that right now, because right now my streaming setup is a single monitor setup. The other monitors I have over here are actually tied to the Mac, and they're mainly used for things like video editing, or me playing video games, just screwing around on another monitor. But I don't have a secondary monitor set up for this, which is probably what I need to do, is a screen capture, so that I can actually do things like show a web browser and look at videos and things like that. My dad says, this is a substantive stream on pre-roll engineering, and I'm thinking of other streamcasting constituencies, in addition to gamers, will find it handy. I certainly hope so. That's really my drive, right? I mean, like, yes, like, my goal, just so nobody in the chat is unclear, my goal is to go full-time on YouTube, like, because the thing that I basically figured out that I want to do, the purpose that I chose for myself, as it were, is that I want to find a way to, basically make a living doing exactly this. And it's not because I'm like, yeah, I want to buy that Lambo someday, get a bookshelf behind me and tell you guys how to live your life. That's not what I want. What I want to do is create helpful content 24/7, but as it stands, I got a day job, I got bills to pay, so not quite there yet, but I'm making strides, right? And I feel like this morning show, if you can even call it a show, is a baby step in that direction, so I'm going to keep doing it. Dragon Gamer, thanks for hanging out. You have a good one, man. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. Watch this later, Josh. I will check that out, Rob. I was looking for some PSVR videos and found your channel. For 5,000 channel is insanely professional, and keep going and you'll get recognition. I hope you're right. And it's funny that you mentioned that it looks professional, because that's one of the things that kind of has been bugging me, JST, is I know that I can shoot like decent B-roll. I know my editing's pretty solid and everything. And in a live stream capacity, I think I do okay remaining chatty and engaged with people. But one of the things that was driving me nuts is, I was making I don't know, my peak output, I guess, I was doing 3 highly produced videos a week, and sometimes more, especially last year. And the way I was able to do that was I batch filmed a ton of it in advance and then started rolling them out gradually. So if if we were on week 1, weeks 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 were already done. They were already uploaded, they had thumbnails, they had copywritten, all that stuff was great. But the problem was, eventually, my margin dwindled, and life happened, I got, busy with things, and I didn't have everything scheduled out as far as I used to. So then I became so obsessed with sort of fixing the process that it was sort of draining me, because it wasn't like, ooh, how can I make the best videos? Like, man, how do I fill up the hopper to make sure I've got stuff to roll for a while? So I was like, you know what, let's take a step back and let's get back to the basics, because quality content doesn't just have to be visually quality, right? You don't have to create, Hollywood style effects in your video to make something that's going to be valuable. And since I'm a big believer that content value is better than production value, right? I can make the best looking video in the world, but if I have garbage content to feed you that's not going to help you in any way, or it's not going to inspire you, educate, entertain, or do those things, then really what's the point? I've just created a really beautiful sort of, disposable piece of content. And that's not what I want to make. I want to make, meaty, helpful content that's really got something to offer people. And that's why I decided to try this live streaming experiment for the next 3 months. It's not that I, don't want to make any more pre-produced videos, but I want to see, one, what happens at the macro level to your analytics, things like views, like what happens to things like ad revenue, views, sustained watch time, and things like that. Do you get ranked lower if you only do live streams on your channel? I want to check that stuff out. And my guess is that at the end of this experiment, it will probably stick with a morning show in some capacity. It might not be every day of the week. It might only be like 3 times a week. I'm not sure yet, but I'm guessing it will be a blend of live streaming content like this and then pre-produced content for other things, but we'll see. My first episode will probably be about biker mice from Mars, which I haven't thought about forever, and that also kind of reminds me of Bucky O'Hare. From the shows to the video game, have a plan to do one about Stallone, Rambo from the movies, and the games to the cartoon. Bruh, how are you doing this morning? Is this your first time on the channel? If so, thank you so much, and I hope this is helpful to you, that you'd also run a gaming channel, but if not, I mean, if you want to ask some questions, I can try to throw out some hilarious anecdotes, but it's not really my strong suit. I'm struggling with the lighting of my videos. At first, it was too dark. Now I think maybe too bright. Trying to figure out the balance. What's your lighting setup look like? Like, normally what I do is, right now I actually have a really bright light that's actually bouncing off of a white wall over here that's doing most of the lighting for me. And then weirdly, as a fill light, I actually this is so lame, but I haven't figured out a better solution yet, because I'm actually doing this underneath of a loft bed right now, and like I have a giant desk setup. This is normally where I do my editing, but I actually just make the background on this monitor over here bright white and turn the brightness all the way up, and it gives me a little bit of a fill over here. Like, if I drag a dark window here, I'm going to drag an Evernote window in front of it. You'll notice everything gets a little bit darker over here on this side. But then if I move it out of the way, it stays brightly lit. So it's kind of a weird, sort of low budget hack to improve your lighting a little bit. I'm struggling. Wait, where am I? Hamfest, I think the term YP2 uses more often is genetic precursors instead of dad. That's true. You are my genetic precursors, my forerunners, as it were. Thanks for letting me be alive, Dad. Good on ya. JST says, I've got to leave, but I'll be here for your next stream. That's awesome. I will be doing this weekday mornings for the foreseeable future at 8 a.m. Eastern, so you show up, I should be here, unless, something else happens, like if I had to go to work early or something like that. But generally, 8 to 9, I'm in pretty good shape to keep going. But yeah, thank you again so much for the kind words, JST. I really appreciate it, man. It's good to know somebody appreciates the stream. So, anyways, yeah, what should we talk about now? 8-Bit says, yeah, right now I'm using a softbox light I got from Amazon, and also one of those selfie ring LED lights. That's very similar to my setup. I actually have the newer NEEWER, I'm sure I'm not pronouncing the manufacturer's name right. I have one of those ring lights, but I never really put it close enough to get what my father here in the chat calls nuclear donuts in your eyes, where it creates that ring effect that you see in a lot of like hip-hop videos and whatnot. But, if I position a little bit further away, it's still a really awesome way to sort of, like, bathe the surrounding area in a fairly even light. And then, I'll position, like, 1 or 2 fill lights, or in the background here, like that pinkish light you see behind Iron Man back there. That is just the Philips Hue system. I've got those things all over the house, and they're great for just adding, a little bit of depth, I think, and just to, punch up the colors a little bit. For me, you'll almost always see hues. That's funny. Hues of pink, purple, orange, and red in the background, because that's sort of reflective of the YourPlayerTwo logo and the overall branding, which I worked with my buddy Jason to sort of get that squared away. So you'll notice that almost everything from on-screen graphics to even, the things that I shoot video of, you'll always see some element of purple, red, orange, or pink, hanging around, because that's the YourPlayerTwo brand. I try to maintain a visual consistency among everything. You probably don't have to do that. Maybe I'm just being anal about it, but, whatever. We will, let's see, so, yeah, I'm trying to think now if there's anything else that I really need to talk about. Ruby says, sorry for leaving early, I'm back, I had to reply to a comment. No worries, man, handle your business. That's the thing, I'm on call this weekend, so I don't think I'll be able to stream anything fun. I might, but, we'll see. It's just not fun to, like, to be in the middle of a stream and be like, yeah, I'm having an amazing time, then have to drop off of it to, do work stuff. But next week should be in a better position to do that, so you'll probably see a few more streams happening in the evenings or on the weekends for sure. So, just out of curiosity, how many people in the chat right now are actively maintaining a gaming channel? Are you just chilling for the fun of it right now? Strange says, you want to talk low budget? I use an old school desk lamp behind my TV/camera. It's sitting on a small metal box, so the bulb sits higher than the TV. Hey, if it works, like, I mean, even a lot of the lights that I have back here, I mean, just using monitor light, and that's the thing, like, it doesn't matter if it's low budget if it achieves the effect. I can't remember what it was. There was a channel that I used to watch all the time, and I can't remember what it was. But basically, the entire point of the channel was to give you low budget camera hacks or things you could do to improve your production, and you would be amazed at some of the things, the effects or the bump in production value you can get from buying like a $10 light at Home Depot, right? I mean, people get so obsessed with gear, and I'm no exception. Like, I can totally get gearless, be like, ooh, I need that new camera. In truth, a lot of times we don't need fancy gear to get things done. If people can see you, if they can hear you, which you can accomplish typically with modern smartphones without breaking a sweat, you're already just way ahead of the game if you can get just like the fundamentals nailed. Then anything else is just like window dressing, right? I wear glasses and it's hard to position myself so I don't get lights or reflection in my... I notice that all the time. I've actually watched a lot of YouTubers who have glasses, and I see the lights reflect in their glasses, and personally, I don't... It's something I notice because I spend so much time editing video and staring at video all day long, but ultimately, if that were me and I had glasses, it would drive me crazy. I'd be like, how do I... Like, even right now, like, as sort of a background prop over here... Wait, where am I pointing? There we go. That YouTube Secrets book, I was like, you know what, that kind of adds some visual flair to the background, so I put that there this morning. But this light that I've got over here, which I'm going to pull into frame just so you can see it, was creating a horrible, horrible reflection on it, and it was driving me nuts. So I actually repositioned it just to keep glare off. You can even kind of see it a little bit in the lower corner here, that glare. Anytime I see glare or reflection from lights in videos, drives me crazy. I know most people don't care, but anytime I watch somebody and I see a bunch of like reflective stuff in the background, like, it drives me nuts. Like, I know nobody cares, but it's just one of those things I can't shake as somebody who tries to make good looking production stuff. $2 at a secondhand shop. I'll send you a pic to DM. Yes, please, absolutely. I should do a whole video about that, just have people send me their low-budget solutions to common production problems and throw them up here on the channel as like a collaborative video. When I stream, I only use the light from my TV and monitors, and then I put an LED par light, I'm not familiar with what that is, from my DJ gear as an uplight behind me to add color. Kind of sets relaxing, calming mood. Yeah, and that's kind of my rationale between using the hue lights and stuff back here. Like, if it's an evening stream, I usually don't have as much white fill light in the background, which makes everything just... it makes everything a little bit more moody, right? And I'll put even more colors in the background. Like, I've got I've got 4 different hue lights in this room that I can use to sort of mix and match colors. And that's also the reason that when Jason and I repainted this room just a few months back, I went for a very neutral, whitish sort of gray color, was because I knew that, I could paint with light, as it were, and, it would reflect those colors very well. I didn't do a dark color because I knew it would be harder to sort of, use colored light and make it look okay. Kind of what you're... Yeah, yeah, I see what you mean. Irumi says there's something going on right now. It's hard to watch your stream. Is anyone else having problems right now, or is maybe you've got a bad connection, right, man? I mean, like, I'm watching it right now, and it looks okay on my side. But if you guys are seeing problems with drop frames, or if it's looking goofy, let me know. That's the kind of continual feedback that I thrive on in the live format to make sure that everything continues to go smoothly. I'm still gonna watch it. Well, thank you for that. Looks good. Awesome. Glad to hear it. So, I think at this point I'm going to go ahead and drop off here because I do have work coming up in about 15 minutes and I got to get a couple of other things squared away. But thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your Friday morning to hang out, listen to these tips that I put out there. If you are new to the channel, please consider subscribing and hitting the bell to be notified when new live streams drop, which again, until Halloween, is going to be every weekday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern. I'm going to try to keep a combination of, just fun content here, but then also things, again, that, offer information or encouragement or inspiration if you run a gaming channel. If you're thinking about starting a gaming channel, that's the kind of content that you're going to get here every single week, and in a lot of cases, probably every single day. So anyways, again, thank you guys so much. I hope you have a tremendous rest of your Friday and that your weekends are filled with joy and happiness and unicorns and all those good things. But right now, I'm going to go ahead and drop off here so I can get to the day job. And, yeah, that's all for today. Have a wonderful